Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk with Chris Godinez on every Sunday at noon, Arizona Mountain Standard Time. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. If you feel you need a therapist, please go to Google, type in therapy, your city, Psychology Today will pop up, click on that, and it will have all of the therapists in your area. Also, the views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other damn therapist for that matter. Boom, chakalaka, done. Whew. Okay. Today's question, and it's going to have to be a real quick video because I got to jam out of here at about 10:15. How do siblings who were once close when they were young in their when they were young into their late teens separated due to manipulation of the narc parent for years? How a narc parent rips that healthy bond apart, and then how do you reconnect after all of that, you know, going off on your own ways and trying to figure things out. So there is a great book. Hi, guys. There is a great book called Toxic Parents by Susan Forward. There's also Surviving a Toxic Mother. I don't know who wrote that one. That's a good one. There's a whole bunch of books on toxic families and toxic parents and narcissistic moms and BPD moms, you know, malignant, not traits of. So those are all really, really good books to reference. So this is what narcissistic or abusive parents do, or toxic parents do. They need triangulation. So they need somebody to be the villain all the time, because if there's peace and calm in the family and they're the one acting out and being crazy, you know, it becomes very clear who the problem is. So what a narcissist will do is they will drag somebody else in to this family unit, or, you know, they'll use siblings and they'll divide and conquer, divide and conquer, divide and conquer. This is where those roles come in. So the golden child, the scapegoat, the ignored middle child, the comedian, the, you know, fill in the blank. So they put kids into these little boxes and then they force them to compete for attention or for accolades or for food or for, you know, name it. And they divide and conquer. Well, you know, if only you could be more like your brother. If only you could be more like your sister. Why can't you act like so-and-so? So they do things to divide and conquer. So what they'll do is they'll go to one sibling and they will, you know, well, your sister said blah, 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 when in fact the sister hadn't said a damn word. This is all the narcissist and all their thoughts and their beliefs and their feelings that they are saying is, again, projecting onto whoever the identified scapegoat is, and then telling the other sibling, well, they said this and they said that. Basically, they're lying. They're la, 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 if their lips are moving, they are lying because they are liars. So, okay, in my family, it's one narc spouse who separates the siblings. Yeah. So, yeah, absolutely. This is what happens. So it creates a lot of, obviously, division and tension and anger amongst the siblings, because one sibling, you know, we're raised to believe our parents, you know, which is great if the parent is normal, healthy, happy, whole, and sane. But if they're bat shimomo crazy and they're a narcissist or they're a malignant borderline, that is really, really dangerous. Hey, Carolyn. Oh, butterflies. I love all the pictures of your butterflies. Those are awesome. Carolyn's a friend of mine from high school. Anyway, they're dangerous because kids are taught naturally to obey, you know, obviously, the parent, the elder, the adult, etc. But if that parent, that elder, that adult is dysfunctional, is disordered, is dangerous, holy crap, our whole worldview gets skewed. So we have this parent that we believe has got our best interest at heart, and in fact, they have their best interest at heart. And it takes years to get that. I distinctly remember the day when I realized, holy crap balls, these two do not have my best interest at heart. They are both acting on the level of a 2-year-old. Holy shit. Ooh, ee, ooh, ah, ah, ting, tang, walla, walla, bing, bang. You know what I'm saying. So it's like talking to my older sister was immensely healing because she had managed to stay out of the fray. She did not get, I mean, yes, she was the golden child, but she always made a point of being like, look, mom and dad are crazy. Look, you know, you don't have to be in competition with me. No, you don't have to do the things I have done. Da, 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 da. Do you see where I'm going with that? It's like she mitigated. Of course, she was also 18 years older than I am. So because she came from my mom's first marriage. So that helped a lot in that she had a lot more experience on her side, and she had time on her side, and she also had separation on her side. She didn't come into my dad's crazy orbit until she was 12, thank God, because by that time she could speak up and go, I'm not playing this game. So, but when kids are young, they don't have that perspective. They don't have that space. They don't have that experience to go, this is toxic. This isn't healthy. Oh my God, divide and conquer. No, we think that's normal. And this is part of the reason why we end up getting involved with abusers later on in our life, because we've been indoctrinated. Just like I talked about on Sunday. Is today Tuesday? Good God. Just like I talked about on Sunday about the hypnotic trance that they put us in. It's conditioning, 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 conditioning. And what they do is they force the siblings to hate each other, even though they really don't. It's like there's this love there, you're a sibling, you like each other. There's, if there is that relationship. In some families there's not. In some families the siblings, one sibling could be a mini-me of the abuser and have disorder themselves, and that makes it very difficult to have a healthy, normal relationship. So it happens because the narcissist, the abuser, the malignant borderline, whoever it is, once they have reached that malignancy, they need to divide and conquer, and they need to have a triangle. There needs to be an identified problem, not them, an identified problem in the family that they can focus everybody on. Oh, it's Susie. Susie's the problem. Susie's the rebel. Susie's this. Susie is that. Susie's saying such and such about you. That's what they do so that they can have some focus that's not them. They have to take the focus off themselves. That is why they triangulate. And they do this not only in toxic families, but they do this with friends, family, etc. Anybody who sees the abuser for the piece of shit that they are. Abso-fucking-lutely. They will use that person as the triangulation to take the focus off of them and onto somebody else, so that, it's like, look over here, don't look over here, look over here, don't look over here, that kind of thing. Francine, I am glad you found me too. That's awesome. Thank you. Letting go of the toxic siblings feels more devastating than the abusive parents. Well, yeah, because there are siblings, and in a healthy, normal family, normal, whatever normal is, in a healthy family, let me just say that, in a healthy family or a healthier family, siblings are your friends. Yes, there's sibling rivalry, absolutely. That's going to be normal, until it gets to the point of weirdness, in which case there's probably toxicity going on because it's probably encouraged. So it is devastating when you realize that your siblings are not on your side, or are disordered themselves, or fill in the blank, because they're our same age, they're close to our same age. Parents are, way older, and they're close to our same age. And it's kind of like everything in our society, right? Societal norms says that, siblings should be your best friend, or should be somebody you can rely on, or somebody, and in a toxic family, they're not because of the conditioning. And that's why it's so devastating, because this is the person you've been raised with for, 17, 18 years. And then you realize, I can't trust them. I can't, they're a mini version of mom or dad, or whatever. And it is devastating. It absolutely is. So, no, it is not us just clinging not to be alone in all this. It's also that if the sibling is disordered, they will deny your reality, which doesn't help with the fog, the fear, the obligation, the guilt, the hypnotic trance. Because if you've read my book, and of course I don't have my books out here in the kitchen, God damn it. If you've read my book, What's Wrong with Your Dad, there was a part in there where I talked about confronting one of my sisters about the abuse that my dad put me through. And my sister sat there and looked at me and said, that never happened. Gaslighting, hello. At the time I didn't know it was gaslighting. I just knew that she was not speaking the truth, and she was denying my reality. And yeah, so yeah, they become flying monkeys for the toxic parent, you bet. And it's very disheartening, and it is difficult, because then you have to find somebody in your family that will say, I believe you. Yeah, I've seen this happen. Yeah, you're absolutely right. This garbage truck. Scotty! Hey! Scottster! Scott Orama! Hang on. Scotty! Come here, buddy. Come on. Come on. You. Good boy. World is safe from garbage trucks. Anyway, point being, that. All right, where was I? Oh God, brain derailed, dog derailment. They deny your reality, and then you have to find a family member that will help you get out of the fog and go, yes, I remember this person acting this way, or yes, your perception is correct, or, you know, hey, you're not wrong, or do you see where I'm going with that? Because especially as a kid, if you know you were abused, but your sibling is going, that never happened, that's a mind fuck like nobody's business. Abso-freaking-lutely. So yeah, that's why it's so hard to lose a sibling to a disorder, because to a toxic parent, because yeah, you've lost your backboard to bounce things off of, realistically. Which is why I was fortunate in that my oldest sister was far enough out of it and had done enough of her own work. Scotty, what are you doing? Done her own work so that I could bounce things off of her, and she was able to go, oh honey, let's talk, you know, and she's the one that got me into psychology. So God bless my oldest sister. Okay, letting go of the toxic sibling feels more devastating. Yeah, okay, I just covered that. My brother turned my entire family against me by triangulating and lying about me and saying I'm doing exactly what he is doing. Projection, projection, projection. When somebody cannot deal or cope with their own stuff, so they're cheating, they're lying, they're doing this, they're doing that, they turn it around and go, you. Notice one finger pointing out, three pointing back at them. So whenever anyone pulls out the, oh good Lord, I'm having a hot flash. Whenever anyone ever pulls out the you guns, you know that they're talking about themselves. Absolutely. Smear campaigns, they're talking about themselves. Everything they're accusing you of is probably what they're doing. So that's why I keep saying, if your spouse or whoever is going, you're doing this, you're doing that, you, they're talking about themselves. If they say you're a cheater, you might want to go get tested. You know what I'm saying. All right. Okay, where am I? Oh, good Lord, I lost my spot. I'm just blown away that no one has even stood up or been like, hey, Annie, isn't this like, this isn't what's going on. Yeah, so families that do that are toxic, and families that allow a sibling to do that are also toxic. So a healthy, normal family, relatively speaking, would stop the person. They would be like, stop, you're triangulating, let's get them on the phone. Seriously, that is what they would do. They would say, hey, this isn't cool. You're talking about somebody who's not here. Let's get them on the phone. As soon as I do that, boy, the conversation goes dead. You know, because I've had family members attempt to do that kind of thing, and I just go, okay, let's get them on the phone. You know, you're saying they've said X, Y, and Z. Let's get them on the phone and see. Oh, no, that's not really, I misunderstood. Backpedal. Yeah, you call it. And this is the thing, guys, you cannot be fearful. And what I'm hearing from a lot of you is the fear. And that's real, it is, but you cannot allow the fear to control you. And that's what they are counting on. You must be fearless. Fearless. No fear. Tell the fear to go fuck itself sideways with an unlubricated baseball bat. Because they want us to shut the hell up. They want us to not name the behavior. They want us to not go, hey, let's get them on the phone and see what this other person says that you're trying to triangulate with. You know, and once they realize that you do that, guess what? The behavior fucking stops, because they know you can no longer be manipulated with fear, with bullshit, with lies, etc., because you're gonna verify. You're gonna verify. Listen but verify. So that's what you do. It's you listen, but you verify. Or, you know, they start in on a you, or somebody said this about you, and you We're not going to discuss this without the person here. Let's get them on the phone. Let's see what they say. Boom, conversation totally changes. And then they either, it stops cold, oh, you misunderstood me, or they, crazy, start going word salad into another topic and try to take you off track. This is what abusers do, because once they have been nailed for their lies and nailed for their triangulation, they will then go into some emotional thing from the past, or they will accuse you of something else, or they will, yeah, that's just what they do, because they know they cannot win a true logical argument or a true truth. Hello. There it is. Okay. And they use psychological terms like they know what they're talking about. I'm sorry, unless you have your master degree, abuser, and you've worked in the field for 13 years and you've written a few books on this, don't throw around psychological terms because you don't know what you're talking about. So what abusers will do is they will start using the word triangulation, in that they'll use that against the family and friends who are trying to tell the target of abuse, this person is abusive. This person is abusive. And I'll tell you what, if the target of abuse had said, well, let's get him or her on the phone, I would have said, fine, do it. Because I will point out the behavior, but they never do that because they're in the fog, because they've got that preconditioned hypnotic stance where they cannot go against their abuser. But the abusers will start using psychological terms to try to confuse the target of abuse. And they will act like they know more than the person who actually has their degree, has written books about it, and has been doing videos for thousands of years. Yeah, they do that. So anyway, there that is. Okay, where was I? Oh, honey, I'm glad I could do this. And this is the whole reason I do these videos, is because we do give up hope. We lose hope. We feel like nobody understands us. We do. I hate to say it, but it is very similar. Well, it is an addiction because we're addicted to the abuser, not to the abuse. We are addicted to the abuser. And just like an addict, we feel like we are the only ones in the world going through this, that we are tragically unique. We are not. There are thousands of us out there, hundreds of millions, hundreds of millions of us out there. There is. So we are not alone. Your tribe is here. Find your tribe. And go to Melanie Tanya Evans. Go to Dana Morningstar, Richie Grannon, Ross Rosenberg. Who else? I'm trying to think of who else does videos and stuff. We're out there, guys. Your tribe is out there. Find your tribe, because you need people to validate, yes, this is real. Yes, you have been through this. Yes, your sibling is probably disordered. Yes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, if that makes any sort of sense. Okay, where was I? Okay. Oh no, now Vinny's barking like crazy. I'm so sorry. Okay, so my brother believes that our childhood was ideal and our parents are great. I'm the messed up one because I set boundaries. This is what disordered kids do. This is what disordered siblings do. Because let's face it, facing the fact that your childhood was not normal, was not perfect, was not ideal, that mom and dad really did not have your best interests at heart, that is devastating. It is heartbreaking. It is the long dark night, or the long dark tea time of the soul. Long dark tea time, because, you know. So it really is. And it takes courage, it takes introspection, and it takes personal responsibility and honesty with the self to go, you know what, this was fucked up. You know what, they did not have my best interest at heart. You know what? My behavior in this was also not cool. You know, I behaved as a flying monkey picking on whatever, or not, or whatever. But do you see where I'm going? It takes personal responsibility. And people who are disordered cannot take personal responsibility. They can't. They won't. You can't make them. You know, they just won't, because you have to get the ego the fuck out of the way, and you have to go, shit, I was wrong. Healthy, normal people are able to go, shit, I was wrong. New information coming in, let me change my mind, let me work, let me get better, let me grow. People who are damned and determined that they are right, I can guarantee you their ego is running the show. Guarantee it. You must kill the ego. Get the ego out of the way. Deal with reality. And that means loving yourself 110%. That means working on the self-esteem. That means going back and working on the original wound, and working on that which got us to the point where we were dating narcissists or abusers ourselves. So the original wound, Inner Child Workbook by Catherine Taylor. Work it. It's a great book. Okay. Okay, where was I? Yeah, when we set down, and I posted a meme about this, the only people who hate that you are setting boundaries are the ones that are violating them. Go figure. So yeah, and if that's the case, again, here is the question I ask everybody. If you were not related to these people, siblings included, would you have anything to do with them? If the answer is no, act accordingly. You owe them nothing. There is no obligation there. You don't, especially if you have said, I'm not putting up with this behavior. Here's my list of deal breakers. Are you willing to go to therapy with me? Oh, you're not? Okay, well, done. Be done. Be done. You cannot fix them because you did not break them. Parents did. So, okay, where was I? Okay, hello, Jen. Yes, my sister was the original We Need to Talk. Holy crap, you have no idea. I would spend hours with her just talking stuff through. She was the best support and she still is the best support and the best reality check I could possibly get, because the whole family was completely cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I mean, it was nutso. You guys are welcome. Absolutely. I do this because I enjoy it, obviously, because I don't get paid for this. So, I do this on my off time, and I do this because I know there is a need, because clearly there are therapists being turned out that don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. So yeah, this is why I do this stuff, because I want to help as many people as I possibly can. Will the flying monkeys ever figure out the narcissist? What has to happen for them to see what I see? It depends. It depends. Because here's the thing. Some flying monkeys are just ignorant. It's like they don't know what they don't know. And then when they are educated, then they go, and they get it, and they distance themselves from the abuser. Other flying monkeys are minor narcissists. They are never going to get it. They don't want to get it. They are not going to change, and their ego is invested in the belief that the abuser is good. Don't get me started on politics. So anyway, the point being is, if they are just ignorant, okay, they just don't know what they don't know, and you teach them and you educate them, and then they go, and they distance themselves, great, that can happen. But if they are a minor narcissist themselves, and they are getting narcissistic supply from the abuser themselves, no, they will never change. Never, 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 never. All right, where was I? Yes, Flora, you're absolutely right. It depends on how much they're invested in not seeing it. And sometimes they never do. And it's not your job to enlighten them. I mean, you can try, you can do it, but if they choose to go, la, 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 I'm not listening, la, 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 I'm not seeing, backwards. But you know what I'm saying. It's like if they're like, la, 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 that whole thing, then no, you can't. There's nothing you can do, You can put it out there and there it is. All right. Oh, goodness. I am very glad these videos are helping. That is my whole goal. Okay. Yeah, the reality check is hugely important for stabilization. You're absolutely correct, Laura. Because if we don't have somebody to go, hello, this is not normal, then we will live in this not normal state and think that's normal, and then keep bumping into walls and hitting our toes and wondering why we're in such pain. So that's why reality checks are always good. And this is why I go and I talk to other therapists, and I go to lectures, and I educate myself to make sure that I am on the right track. You have to do that, no matter who you are. Not talking to other therapists and going to lectures, but you have to have a reality check. You have to always go, is this the right thing? Is this where, am I going on the right path? Is this where I need to be? Is this, do you see where I'm going with that? Is this normal? Kind of thing. So there it is. Yeah, you plant the seed. That's all you can do. You plant the seed, you water it, you walk away, hope that the sunshine hits it. Oftentimes, though, the abuser will walk in after you've planted a seed and dig the seed up. Conditioned behavior. Hello. So there that is. Okay, so how to heal. Tom, it's okay. I think we understood what you meant. How to heal from that. So if the, oh good Lord, I have another hot flash. If the sibling is willing to work on themselves and willing to acknowledge and deal with the fact that it's not normal, this is not healthy, that they've been in the fog, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If they're willing to go to therapy with you and are honest and truthful with themselves first and then with you, then you have a chance of healing the relationship. You do. But if the sibling is in the fog, is unwilling to take a look at the fact that the family is dysfunctional, is unwilling to work on the relationship, then you don't have the chance of an ice cube in hell. You don't. And it's like with anything, whether this be a sibling, a friend, a family member, a lover, whatever, and you do not want to do therapy with an abuser. Let me just say that again. You do not want to do therapy with an abuser. I don't care if they're their sibling or not. You do not want to do therapy with an abuser. Why? Because they will absolutely take whatever is said in therapy and either use it against you, or if you're working with somebody who's still in the fog, they'll run back to their abuser and tell them everything you said in therapy, because they are under that obligation, the fear, the guilt, the obligation, the fog, the programming. You must tell me everything. You must be truthful to me. If you're not truthful to me, you're disloyal. Da 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 da. So you got to be careful. If you've got somebody who's still in the fog, don't even bother, because they're just going to run back to the abuser and tell them everything, and then you're the bad guy again, and then you're bad and wrong, and therapy doesn't do anything because you plant those seeds, and then the damn abuser comes through and rips them all out. So anyway. Oh yeah, they waste our time. Absolutely. Okay, so if they are willing to work on themselves, encourage them to read all of the books that I constantly talk about. So like the CPTSD From Surviving to Thriving, the Self-Esteem Workbook, Surviving to Thriving by Pete Walker, the Self-Esteem Workbook by Schiraldi, the Inner Child Workbook by Catherine Taylor, Radical Acceptance by Tara Brach, Radical Forgiveness by Colin Tipping. Trying to think of the other ones because my brain just went. They're all on my webpage, so they're on Facebook. We did a list of books and that stuff. Yes. So here's the other thing: if you have a covert narcissist, what they will do is they will do the help me, 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 but they never make a step to help themselves, and they waste your time you trying to fix them. Don't fall for it. They've got to do their own work. So when I have somebody come in and they're help me, help me, help me, help me, help me, help me, help me in a couple, I go, we need to do individual. You need to go to an individual therapist. You need to go to an individual therapist. Then when you've worked on these issues, then you can come back and talk to me. So, and if they're an abuser, I absolutely make sure that couples counseling does not happen. So where was I? Okay. Oh, good Lord. I'm running out of time. Okay. So, and in a healthy or in a relationship that is being repaired, you start up the conversation again. You start talking to each other again. You start working through this stuff. So, yeah, I told my narc what I was doing and later was like, why the hell did I ever do that? Yeah, well, it's because we're conditioned. Obligation. You got to tell me everything, just like a disordered parent. Think about it. The disordered parent has no boundaries and they want to know everything you're doing. Everything. There's no privacy. There's no boundaries. There's no nothing. Same thing with an abuser. There's no privacy. There's no boundaries. There's no nothing. They need to know every conversation you're having with your family members because they know your family members are going, dude or dudette, wake the fuck up. This person is abusive. So they are monitoring, guarantee it, they're monitoring every single conversation you're having. Every single one. And if you have one on the phone, they have trained the target of abuse to run back and tell the abuser everything that was said. Guarantee it. All right, where was I? My sister's an alcoholic and had a lot of the same traits as my narc ex. My narc used her to get me away, but unfortunately so was there when I finally needed help escaping. However, she still insists I have no real friends, which hurts. I've yet to see one friend in the 8 months I've been back. So here's the thing. When we've been raised by toxic parents and we are starting to awaken and we're starting to get healthy and we get out of the abusive relationship, the people that we considered friends while we were in the fog were probably not our friends, except for the ones who were sitting there going, hello, you're in an abusive relationship. Those were your real friends. But all of these so-called friends are not your friends. They're either friends of the narcissist or they're friends of another abuser or we picked people who are damaged and dysfunctional. So, and it's interesting because I dealt with this yesterday. So when we are coming out of the fog, when we are awakening, we are getting rid, we're cleaning the closet, basically. So think of it this way. You have to clean the closet. You have to get rid of all the crappy stuff in there so that you make room for good fitting, healthy, nice looking, new stuff. Meaning good fitting friends, healthy friends that are good with you, that meld with you well, that are supportive, that want you to do well, that want you to be healthy, that want you to be happy. Does that make sense? So yeah, it is very lonely when we come out of the fog, when we are first out of it, because we also have to make amends to any and all friends and family that we threw under the bus for the abuser, which happens because of the conditioning. So yeah, it is a lonely spot to be. However, this is the time period for you to work on you. Get the self-esteem workbook. Do the mirror work. There is no reason to be lonely because you have you. You must start to learn to trust you. Trust your gut. Like you. Enjoy your own company. figure out what your deal breakers are. What will you absolutely not put up with in any relationship? And when you go to make friends, go do the things that really, really light your fire. What do you enjoy? What do you enjoy doing? You know, go do those things. Find your tribe and make sure you have your list of deal breakers with you so that if any of these people are disordered, you can spot them a mile and a half away, sidestep them, or you just go, not playing, done. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, they play the victim. Absolutely. They absolutely play the victim. All right. So to recap, because I got to go. Parents do this on purpose. Disordered parents do this on purpose. They divide and conquer. They need a triangulation. They need somebody to focus on that's the identified problem so that the focus is not on them. They will lie to one sibling about the other. They will make shit up. They will say things that were not said, etc., etc. Well, your sister said so-and-so about you, and that never was said. Absolutely. And they do that to divide and conquer. They have to. When you're out of that relationship and the siblings have worked on themselves, read those books. Make sure both siblings or all siblings or whoever's involved is reading those books, is with a good trauma therapist, is dealing with the toxic family, the toxic, stuff. In other words, working on the original wound. And then you start the line of communication open again. So for me, I've recently started talking to my stepsister that I haven't spoken to in 40 years. So this is really kind of cool because like I said, she and I had really similar experiences. We had different moms, same dad. So she and I are talking on Facebook, which is awesome, so, and it's really kind of cool to hear the sense of humor is so similar. It's so funny. So, you know what I'm saying? And it's good to start reconnecting. So you baby steps, baby steps, baby steps, and you have good boundaries up, and you start the communication and see if they want to go to therapy with you. See if they want to start working on the relationship. If they do, great. If they do and they run back to the mom and dad and tell them everything that happened, then or if they become abusive, no, done. You know what I'm saying? So, baby steps and cautious optimism. I think that's the way to put it. So, so anyway, that's, I think, that. Oh, Kyle, good for you for going back and getting your master's degree. Good job. Toxic parents will often discourage us and or siblings from attaining our goals. So, okay, could you talk sometime about the golden child scapegoat dynamic that plays out in an only child family? Oh, yeah, that'll be another one-off one. Good Lord, I gotta go. So anyway, guys, I hope that answered your question. This week on We Need to Talk is going to be Jess Manny. We're going to be talking about PTSD for sure. I know there was also some questions about nutrition and anorexia that he said that he could feel. So anyway, that's it. I cannot think of anything else. So keep the questions coming. That is a good one for another video. Laura, if you could IM me and rephrase that question or tell me that question again, because I'll lose it in the chain here. Okay, all right, so I think that's it, guys. So go have a wonderful week. I will see you on Sunday with Jess Manny at noon on We Need to Talk. We will be talking about PTSD again. We will be talking about veterans. We will be talking about anorexia and nutrition and things like that. Go have a wonderful day, guys, and I will talk to you later. Bye.